For those we have lost to overdose. Tomorrow we change the world that lost them. Good evening, and thank you all for being here this evening as we kick off the City of Rockville's 4th Opioid Awareness Campaign and our ongoing efforts to raise awareness of the scourge on our families. Join us as we bring the conversation out of the shadows. As many of you know, this is personal for me. We lost my brother-in-law in 2017, and until I read Beth Macy's book, Dope Sick, I blamed Robert. We were so very angry. Only 44 years old, intelligent, funny, handsome in a Clark Gable kind of way, Robert had a great job and a beautiful child. He was a beloved son and brother. Why was he messed up with opioids? Then in June, I attended the MML, the Maryland Municipal League's summer conference. And in one of the sessions, I was shocked, stunned to be accurate, to see more than half the people in the room raise their hand when asked, who has personally known someone lost to opioids? I had no idea that our family shared this devastation with so many others. Councilmember Feinberg was in the same session and we spoke afterwards. She agreed to partner with me, and thanks to now Mayor of Hagerstown, Emily Keller, who presented the campaign at a Rockville City Council meeting, the city joined the national effort to raise awareness of the opioid epidemic, the true root cause, and our efforts to help and support those with substance use disorder. As we kick off the 2021 campaign, I want to acknowledge the city staff and our creative partners who've been instrumental in carrying out our vision for this year. Councilmember Dr. Miles, Councilmember Monique Ashton, and Councilmember Mark Pershela, who's not with us right now. Please hold your applause until I've named everyone. Deputy City Manager Angela Judge and Director of Rec and Parks Tim Chestnut, who ably led and encouraged the Rockville Goes Purple Committee. Committee members, Councilmember Beryl Feinberg, Kathy Kirk-Dantzler and her Channel 11 team, Hagop, Craig, and Adrian, Frederica Granger from the Housing and Community Development Department, Cliff Cumber and Sean Seedham from PIO, Rec and Park staff, Warren Dorsey, Rob Wyatt, Paige Jansen, Carla Sheehy, Mike Cooper-Smith, Amanda Knox, and Matt Bailey. Danny Winborn from the CCDCO, and Rockville City Police Department Chief Vic Brito. Behind us on the front walk is Suzanne Brennan Furstenberg's art installation, Forgotten, Our Loved Ones Lost to Overdose, which is part of her Empty Fix project. A huge thank you to artist Sheila Berman for installing this exhibit on Friday, as Suzanne is on the National Mall installing her In America exhibit consisting of 610,000 white flags honoring the American lives lost to COVID-19. Many thanks to Suzanne and Sheila for their ongoing partnership with us on Rockville Goes Purple. Please take a moment to explore these exhibits. I also want to thank Jonathan Novak, former attorney at the U.S. Department of Justice and a DEA litigator who has worked with us on several RGPs. Mr. Novak was the moderator of our conversation with author Beth Macy in 2020 and has participated in many of our discussions on the opioid crisis. Most recently, Mr. Novak is featured in The Crime of the Century, an HBO documentary which shines a spotlight on the role that Big Pharma, political operatives, and government regulations played in the overproduction, reckless distribution, and abuse of synthetic opioids. Mr. Novak and Kathy Kirk-Dantzler will lead a conversation with Emmy and Oscar-winning director Alex Gibney on Saturday the 18th, 6 p.m. on WebEx. The event is free and open to the public, so please join us online. And in a minute, Councilmember Feinberg will introduce our keynote speaker, Judge Debbie Dwyer, who will talk about Montgomery County's drug court. Thank you to all of you for your support and efforts to make this conversation a reality. There is great shame in this crisis. It rests solely at the feet of Big Pharma and those who profited. According to the DEA, between 2006 and 2012, more than 76 billion opioid pills flooded the United States. Those who promoted opioids as a safe way to treat pain from a broken leg, a sprained back, surgery, were fueled with greed. And prescriptions for OxyContin, dubbed the rich man's heroin, grew tenfold between 1997 and 2002. Within 2 years of its introduction, sales from OxyContin represented 80% of Purdue Pharma's profits. According to the Opioid Operational Command Center and the Maryland Department of Health's 2020 annual report, opioids were involved in 90.1% of all overdose deaths in 2020, a higher annual proportion than at any other time. The state of Maryland saw 499 opioid-related fatalities last year, an increase of 18.7% from 2019. According to the People's World, the invention of OxyContin by Purdue Pharma in 1996 laid the basis for this epidemic. They knew what my brother-in-law didn't, that the addiction would be swift and the fall would be fatal. I'd now like to introduce Councilmember Beryl Feinberg, my partner. Welcome, Councilmember.
Thank you, Mayor Newton, for your remarks about the significance of Rockville Goes Purple and the events that we will showcase this month. Hello, Rockville. While we still suffer the ravages of the COVID-19 pandemic, we gather today and throughout the month to showcase the positive steps taken by community partnerships. Equally important, tonight we remember those who suffered the ultimate consequence of opioid addiction, death. Even one death is one too many. Federal, state, county, and municipal governments, along with nonprofit partners and businesses, join in the war on addiction. Multi-pronged initiatives include outreach and education about opioid addiction, resources for those suffering from addiction and their families, local recovery programs, prescription drug take-back programs, and Narcan training to assist someone in the midst of a drug overdose. Officially established by the Mayor and Council on September 24, 2018, Rockville Goes Purple convened community events beginning in early 2019. Even before that, the city formally joined other states and local jurisdictions to take legal action against drug manufacturers and distributors for their role in the nationwide opioid crisis. In 2020, Rockville responded to 23 reports of heroin or opioid overdoses. The COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated the plight for those suffering from addiction as community treatment programs were forced to shutter or modify their physical locations. Many straddling recovery lost jobs and incomes, leading to increased homelessness, loneliness, hopelessness, and increased stigmatization. According to the Addiction Center website, 96% of medical and treatment professionals reported that patients with an opioid use disorder have been disproportionately affected by COVID-19. 92% of frontline professionals stated that opioid use has increased somewhat to a lot. 94% of frontline professionals also report that social isolation has led to an increase of 94% in relapses. So you also may ask, why is this Rockville Goes Purple? And I see many people sporting these great t-shirts. Thank you for Recreation and Parks and the city for funding this. Rockville aligns itself with the color selected by the United States National Recovery Month organization, founded in 1989. Worldwide, the color purple is embraced by the addiction recovery movement. Let's talk about it. The tagline for this month's events has meaning for everyone. Addiction is not the disease of marginalized and sometimes invisible residents. No, addiction can sneak up on anyone, regardless of race, gender, economic status, or age. Often forgotten are those requiring palliative care for a sports injury, pedestrian or vehicular accident victim, or a senior enduring ongoing pain for arthritis or any other chronic condition. I ask that you join the mayor and council in making the commitment to learn, educate, and participate in the battle lines preventing addiction, providing critical programs for intervention and recovery, and becoming part of the solution. Wear your purple proudly. And now, we are honored to have as our keynote speaker today a person who is working within the justice system to help those on the road to recovery with the Adult Drug Court Program. Please welcome Montgomery County Circuit Court Associate Judge, Deborah L. Dwyer.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mayor Newton, Council Member Feinberg, and the entire City Council. It is my sincere honor and privilege to speak tonight as Rockville Goes Purple for Opioid Awareness Month, to remember those we have lost to this disease and to discuss ways we can partner to defeat it. My name is Debbie Dwyer, and I am a lifelong Rockville resident. And as you heard, I'm also a judge on our circuit court here in Montgomery County, and am one of 4 judges currently assigned and to sit on our adult drug court. What is adult drug court, you ask? It is a collaborative partnership between the Montgomery County Circuit Court, the Montgomery County State's Attorney's Office, the Public Defender's Office, our local law enforcement agencies, our local health treatment system, parole and probation, and local employers. And it's designed as an alternative to incarceration for nonviolent offenders who suffer from the disease of substance abuse, with the hope of ending the cycle of addiction that leads to criminal behavior. In our drug court's 17-year history, we have seen 244 individuals, many with extensive criminal histories, and all of them with substance abuse addictions, mostly opioid-based, enter recovery and graduate from our program. As many of you know, either personally or simply through the news, opioid deaths in Montgomery County rose 26% in 2020, fueled by the isolation and fear created by a worldwide pandemic that continues to rage around us. Drug use soared in 2020, and with that, so did overdoses and death. We are continuing to see these numbers rise, both here and in our neighboring jurisdictions. As of March of 2021, opioid deaths in this county were up 11.5% from the same time last year. The vast majority of these deaths are caused by the consumption of fentanyl. Fentanyl-related deaths are up 5% across Maryland versus this time last year. And it's no surprise we are seeing these increases, as the COVID crisis has exacerbated the challenges that those facing substance abuse disorder face. Our drug court clients were not untouched by this. In 2020, we lost 3 of our members, one of them on Christmas Day, 5 weeks after she graduated from our program. Behind these numbers are human beings. They are members of our community. On August the 31st, a group that is known by the acronym SOUL, S-O-U-L, which stands for Surviving Our Ultimate Loss, sponsored the 2021 commemorative photo gallery in recognition of International Overdose Awareness Day. Across the street here at Veterans Plaza, which is right outside our circuit court building, are the faces of dozens and dozens of local residents who have died of opioid-based overdoses. Their photos and names are still there as we speak tonight. Kate R., Stephen G., Kim H., Danny O., Jeffrey D., Ryan S., Kenny F. Right here behind us where we are standing now is a stark and graphic reminder of those we have lost. Pieces of their blue jeans with their names on them for all of us to see who pass. These people were our neighbors. They were our colleagues. They were our local business owners. They were mothers and fathers, wives and husbands, and our sons and our daughters. I urge everyone within the sound of my voice to come here to see these powerful displays of grief that serve as a reminder that addiction and overdose deaths do not discriminate. That is why, as a community, we must come together and talk about and acknowledge this health crisis. And ladies and gentlemen, it is a health crisis. We must shine a light on the disease of substance abuse disorder and not be afraid of it or embarrassed by it. Because with open and frank and honest dialogue comes awareness. And through awareness comes hope. And through hope, recovery is possible. As of this moment, we have 64 active members of our adult drug court. The average length of stay for them is 32.5 months. 50 to 60% of them will likely go on to graduate from our program. Here are two of our success stories. A client enrolled in 2009 after she was caught driving under the influence with her children in the car. She attempted to fight with the officer who stopped her, and later she would have no recollection of this at all. Child Protective Services removed her children. She struggled at first, but eventually made progress in our program through one of our drug court employee partners, of which there are dozens right here in this city. She found work. She regained the custody of her children, and she graduated in 2012. Today, she is sober, she is married, she is still working in the same company that hired her in drug court. She stays in touch with our program and serves as a mentor to many. Another client joined our program in 2018. He was 53 years old. He had been arrested almost 20 times, every one of them due to his addiction. He spent 7 years in prison, not jail, in prison, due to dozens of convictions for theft, all related to his addiction. He made it through drug court without one sanction. He was never late, he never missed a court date, and he never missed a meeting. He is now a peer recovery coach, and he sponsors many of our clients in their addiction recovery. These and many, many more recovery stories are possible because as a community, we believed that their lives were worth saving, that they were worth treating out in the open and not in the darkness of shame. The more we as a community talk about substance abuse disorder and the pall that opioids have blanketed upon us, the more lives we will save. Of that, I have no doubt. This is where it starts. Programs like our drug court, programs like this one. They provide opportunities for all of us to open our minds and our hearts to each other. In order to stem the tide of this crisis of opioid addiction, we must first recognize we have a problem. And I think all of us here tonight have demonstrated that we recognize that there is a problem. And then we must all contribute in some way to the solution. As a judge, I see firsthand the successes of recovery. Giving the defendants that I deal with the opportunity to sustain a crime-free and sober life reduces criminal activity and thereby increases public safety. It's a win-win for every one of us, and we are all so much better off for it. Recovery teaches us that anything is possible and that everyone is capable of change and of doing great things. Initiatives like Rockville Goes Purple honor the redemptive possibilities that are inherent in every one of us. It all starts here, right in our backyard. So thank you so much, Madam Mayor, and all of our council members for not only remembering those that we have lost, but for bringing hope and redemption to our beloved city. Thank you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, oh, and excuse me, Madam Mayor.
You're totally fine.
Can you back that microphone?
I forgot, and I apologize for this, but Council Mayor Sidney Katz has joined us. And Council Mayor Katz and his team have worked with us on many of our Rockville Goes Purple initiatives. And so thank you very much, sir, for being with us. I apologize for not recognizing you. All right, I think that wraps it up for us for this evening. Please take advantage of the opportunity to look at the exhibit and to meet with our partners from social services in the parking lot, and continue to join us as we go through the month of September on Saturday evening with Jonathan Novak and Alex Gibney. So thank you all very much.